Hi guys! Today we'll consider a wide arsenal of cold weapons, but it will not do without strangeness. There will be the most diverse blades and other accessories for fans of noiseless and bloody massacres. You can also buy a couple of them. Chakra and Chakram are the Indian throwing weapons. The metal ring of the chakra was flat and was keenly sharpened from the outside across the whole surface of the cutting edge. The effective throw range was 164 feet. The chakra in flight was almost noiseless and barely noticeable weapon, which gave it an even greater advantage in its application. And what is Chakram? We all watched the Xena Warrior Princess series, didn't we? So her flying disc, which is divided in two in flight, killed a dozen enemies, and then returned to his mistress. It was Chakram. The chakra is a really good weapon. A Chakram is more a weapon of the gods, slightly different in appearance, forged by the best metals of the gods, having the ability to divide in half, hit dozens of enemies, and return back like a boomerang. In general, Chakram is more mythical weapon than real. Combat fan. A metal fighting fan with outer spokes made of heavy iron plates, and it is called Tsen, which is used by an experienced master. It is a weapon with a fairly wide range of possibilities, especially since it folds and moves apart, turning into a club, then into a small shield, then into a huge sharp razor. Sharp edges of the fan's ribs made it possible to apply cutting and chopping blows to the most poorly protected open parts of the body, the neck, face, hands, to loosen the grip and dislodge the weapon. The most vivid reference to this deadly weapon can serve as Kitana is one of the main characters of the Mortal Kombat game, who use two fighting fans exactly as we see on the screen. These blades can shred everything that will be directed at them, of course, within a reason. The word katana also means any sword in modern Japanese. Surely everyone remembers that famous sword of Hattori Hanzo from the Kill Bill movie. In fact, the sharpest blade. This is a reality that can be seen at the Japanese exhibitions. The legendary sword of Murmas is considered to be the sharpest sword. There are only a few copies of such weapons in the whole world. The blade, which is shown at the exhibition, consists of 25,000 layers of steel, and the line that runs along the blade is created by hardening. It is identical to the corresponding line located on the other side of the blade in 70%. It can safely be considered as a deadly prototype of the sword from the Kill Bill movie. Morgenstern is an eerie star of the Middle Ages. The combat part was a metal ball with pointed spikes protruding from different angles. Terrible weapons look impressive. Morgenstern received a well-deserved vocation as a magnificent means against the heavily armed infantry and cavalry. The faceted thorns perfectly pierced the chain mail, but that's everything. The disadvantages of the Morgenstern were much greater. First, the tactics of fighting with a studded mace or a chain were very primitive. The second minus is a blind zone, and soon as the enemy reduces the distance, the weapon turned out to be useless. The mace could get stuck in wooden products without giving the chance to continue the fight. This is Shuriken. Probably almost who opened this video know that this is a Japanese throwing weapon. As a rule, the shuriken were an additional weapon with the katana attached to the sword in the arsenal of the warrior, but they often played the defensive tactical role in the battles. Sometimes they were poisoned and thrown or simply left in a conspicuous place so that someone picked it up and got poisoned from the cut. And yes, the video you're watching is staged, so do not be scared. It is Kusarigama. Japan is also the homeland of this cold steel. This is a mix of sickle and shock load. The technique of working this weapon made it possible to strike the enemy with the help of a weft, or to confuse it with a chain, after which to launch a sickle attack. In addition, it was possible to throw a sickle at the enemy, and then return it back. The most expensive blade in the world is called the Bao Tang Saber. The emperor of the Chinese dynasty instructed the best craftsmen to create a blade for ceremonies in 1748. He personally chose the design and later controlled the process of creating a masterpiece. A total of 90 copies were produced. The model with serial number 17 was dispersed under an auctioneer's hammer in Hong Kong. It was sold for an inconceivable price of $7.5 million, setting not only the price record, but also becoming the most expensive cold steel weapon in the world. Swiss Knife set a record for the largest functionality. His arsenal is simply amazing. Here you will find all possible cutting objects, and not only that. In general, this knife would have become an indispensable thing in the zombie apocalypse, but you cannot put it in your pocket in everyday life. Yurumi is a steel double-edged sword. In some cases, the length of such a sword could reach 20 feet, although the standard could be considered 5 feet. Previously, such flexible swords were worn by the assassins, remaining unnoticed for weapons. It is so flexible that it can be worn around the belt. This is a fairly dangerous weapon, which requires martial arts. It can work as both an ordinary whip and as a sword. It is interesting that Yurumi may have more than one strip, but several, which makes it a powerful and very dangerous weapon in the hands of a real master. What kind of blades cannot be found if you are looking through the dark corners of the internet and the forums of inventors? For example, as a beauty rain has, from a cult video game. They can be in the form of sharks, scorpions, and other bizarre gizmos. Cold arms are exactly what every master can express his fantasy. I found a couple of the blades available on sale. It's a scorpion blade and skull. If you are interested in it, you will find the links on it in the description. Thank you for watching.